Welcome to this time with Tim, and I'd like to share with you today a short story which is a painful and I hope interesting case in decision making in the social context, and a little reflection that I've been having of how this shows up, especially with and for those of us who lead. So the instigating incident, the story at hand is I play futsal, indoor soccer, and a week ago was playing in what was for us to be the last game in the regular season, vying for our spot in the knockout rounds, hoping for a place in the grand final. And I injured myself. Still waiting for the full diagnosis, but it's definitely debilitating and a very painful injury, and really the consequences of this are still unfolding. So what's curious to me about this is, I've been playing this sport a long time. I know my body well. I was aware that I wasn't playing at my best, and I could sense that there were parts of me that were resisting what I was trying to do, and essentially I didn't pay enough attention to those, didn't give enough consideration to the potential consequences, kept going, and not only let my team down due to my lack of participation for the majority of the second half, but now have also incurred consequences in my family and my work life, in what I can and can't do as I go through this recovery and rehabilitation period. And what got me to thinking was, why didn't I stop? And I think the reality is that if I'd been out running by myself, I would have stopped. But in this context, in a competitive environment, with group dynamics going on, with no explicit pressure put on me to continue my participation, to make active choices to go on, perpetuating what I expected to happen, not adjusting, not sensing and responding, just keeping on. And I'm really questioning how often this shows up and why. What is it that we're doing or not doing which leads us to not respond to the data that's in front of us, not really sense fully into the situation, and to only react and not to respond. And here now I have a very painful example of this in real life. Now I've gone through various different options, time pressure, the competitive nature of the environment that I was in, the active, sort of aliveness of the moment and wanting to be a part of those group dynamics. But I think fundamentally what it comes down to is I didn't trust myself enough. I didn't trust my system, my body, fully. I countermanded the messages I was receiving and essentially ignored valid data points in order to continue going towards my predefined aspirational outcome. And now I'm paying the consequences for that. And how often have I seen this in my own life, my own lived experience, that of others, clients I work with, and other cases where we set ourselves a goal and then we relentlessly pursue that, essentially without real consideration for the consequences. Not being adaptive, not really, kind of being on the terrain, staying in the landscape and just looking at that point on the horizon that we're aiming for. And I think over and over and over again, there is this lack of trust in the reality of what is unfolding for us right now. Unwillingness to respond, and be deft in how we adapt to that. And essentially sort of setting ourselves up for a lot of pain, and to then have to reconcile unintended consequences because we're not really paying close attention to what is here, now, what is actually happening, and how that might be in contrast to what we not only predicted, but what we want to happen. So that's enough from me. I'm going to go and deal with my pain and just hope that there is something salient that you might sense in response to this, and a reflection that might come to aliveness for you. And I'd really love to hear any thoughts that you have on this, and I will hope to change some of my own behaviour and learn from this experience. I'll see you soon.